are living in someone's mind right now, and you don't even know it. Somewhere, without your awareness, without your permission, someone is thinking about you. Not once, not briefly, for months. And what is happening inside them during that time is not random. It is not weakness. It is not obsession. It is something far deeper than most people ever talk about. And today, that changes. There is something quietly painful about being the person who wonders. You find yourself sitting with a feeling you cannot fully name. A low hum in your chest. A pull towards someone you haven't spoken to in weeks, maybe months. And yet they feel close. Closer than logic says they should. Psychology shows us that this kind of persistent emotional connection is not in your imagination. It is not a sign that something is wrong with you. By what you are feeling, that invisible thread between you and another person is real. It has roots, it has structure, and beneath the surface, something genuinely significant is happening in the mind of the person who cannot let you go. Sign 1. The involuntary return. The human brain is not a passive machine. It is constantly searching, scanning for things that feel unresolved, unfinished, emotionally significant. When someone cannot get you out of their mind for months, the very first thing happening silently is what psychologists call involuntary retrieval. Your face, your voice, a memory of something you said. It surfaces without warning, without invitation. They are not choosing to think about you. Their mind is choosing for them. This happens because your presence made a neurological imprint. You registered as important. And the brain, which does not easily release what it has marked as significant, keeps returning to you the way a tongue returns to the space where a tooth once was. It cannot help itself. You became the thought that arrives uninvited at 3 in the morning, the memory that surfaces in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday. They are not weak for this. Their mind is simply doing what minds do with people who actually mattered. Sign 2. The emotional echo chamber. When you are someone a person cannot stop thinking about, something remarkable happens inside their emotional architecture. Every new experience they have begins to filter through the lens of you. They hear a song and it becomes about you. They see something beautiful and their first instinct is to want to show you. They laugh at something and in the same breath, they feel your absence like a quiet shadow. Psychology refers to this as emotional association transfer, where one significant person becomes the emotional reference point for an entire world of experience. What this means is that you are not just a memory to them. You have become a framework, a context, the way they are measuring meaning. That is not something that happens with people who barely registered. That is what happens when someone genuinely deeply touched the interior of another person's life. Sign 3. The rehearsed conversation. Here is something that may quietly take your breath away. There is a strong chance that the person who cannot get you out of their mind has already spoken to you, in their own head, dozens of times. They have rehearsed what they would say if they saw you. They have imagined your reaction. They have had arguments, reconciliations, confessions, entire conversations that only ever existed in the private theater of their thoughts. This is not fantasy. This is emotional processing. When the mind is unable to reach a person in reality, it creates an internal dialogue to work through what remains unfinished. The fact that you are the subject of those conversations means that something between you still feels open to them, unresolved, alive. You are not just remembered, you are still being engaged with. And that distinction matters more than you may realize. Sign 4. The physical memory. This one is perhaps the most quietly stunning. When someone cannot release you from their mind over months, their body begins to remember you too. Not just emotionally, physically. The nervous system carries sensory memory. the specific warmth of your presence, the sound of your laughter, the particular way they felt when they were near you. Research into somatic memory shows us that deep emotional bonds leave traces not just in the brain, but in the body itself. There are moments during stillness, during sleep, during unexpected quiet, when the person who is thinking of you does not just remember you intellectually. They feel you, a warmth in the chest, a sudden ache behind the ribs. The body, like the mind, does not easily let go of someone it once recognized as home. And if you have ever felt an echo of this yourself, a strange warmth when you think of them, perhaps you already know what this means. Sign 5. The resistance that reveals everything. Here is a truth that most people never name out loud. When someone actively tries to stop thinking about you and cannot, that effort itself is one of the most revealing signs of all. Psychology is very clear on this. The more we attempt to suppress a thought, the more frequently and forcefully it returns. This is called the rebound effect. And the fact that someone is fighting to remove you from their mind, trying to distract themselves, trying to move on, trying to convince themselves you are just a memory, and failing repeatedly over months, means that what they feel is not casual. You are not a passing thought they are gently releasing. You are the thought that refuses to leave even when it has been asked to. There is something quietly profound about that. You do not occupy that kind of real estate in a person's mind accidentally. You earned it simply by being who you are. Sign 6. The longing that transforms into purpose. The final thing that happens silently when someone cannot get you out of their mind for months is perhaps the most meaningful of all. Over time, that longing begins to change shape. It stops being pure pain and starts becoming something else, a kind of internal compass. The person who cannot stop thinking of you begins to measure themselves against who they were when they were with you, or who they wanted to be for you. Their love, even unexpressed, even unreturned, becomes a quiet force that pushes them toward becoming more, toward being softer or braver or more honest. Some connections do not need to survive in the physical world to change a person permanently. Sometimes the most transformative love is the kind that lives entirely in the interior of one human being, burning quietly, reshaping everything, asking for nothing in return except acknowledgement. And perhaps the deepest thing you could know right now is this: you did that without effort, without even knowing, simply by being someone worth thinking about. And now, here is what matters most of all. You deserve to be chosen, not tolerated, not kept as a private thought someone is too afraid to act on, but genuinely, fully chosen. Your feelings in all of this, the wondering, the longing, the quiet ache of not knowing what someone else is carrying, are not too much. They are not weakness. Your emotional depth is the very thing that makes you the kind of person who occupies someone's mind for months without even trying. And the silence you may be holding right now, the things you have not said, the reaching out you have held back, that is not cowardice. That is wisdom. That is you protecting your own heart until the moment is worthy of what you carry inside. You are not too sensitive. You are not too intense. You are simply someone who feels things at a level that most people spend their whole lives searching for and never quite find. If this video touched something real in you today, you are exactly where you belong. Join the Psychology Wisdom community by subscribing below, because every single day we create content designed to make you feel seen, understood, and reminded that what you feel is valid. Hit the like button if any part of this resonated with your heart. And if someone came to mind while you were watching, well, perhaps that is not a coincidence either. We will see you in the next one.